So today we're going to be taking a look at 3 players that Manchester City have been linked with heavily for the past few months. Players who have been dubbed as a replacement for Leroy Sane, replacement for Sergio Aguero, and a replacement for Vincent Kompany. And about time for that last one. Yes mate, how's it going, and welcome back to the channel. So today, like I said, we're going to be taking a look at 3 key big money players, really highly talked about players who have been linked with the citizens. If you are new to the channel and you do want to see more videos like this, more football based videos, Manchester City based content like this from myself, make sure to hit that big red subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you don't miss a thing. But let's get straight into it with Ferran Torres, a 20-year-old Spanish right winger who plays for his boyhood club Valencia. He has represented the Spanish international team at under 17, under 19 and under 21 youth levels. Just going off that, playing for his boyhood club, playing in the starting 11 for them, and also representing his international team even at younger ages like that, it shows that he's already bursting with potential and he's got that eagerness and that willingness to just go ahead and just give his absolute best, whether it's for his club or for nationality level. Stats this season: in 43 games, 6 goals, 8 assists in all competitions. To be honest, not as good, or nowhere near as good as the other player who we have been linked with as a replacement for Leroy Sane, being Jadon Sancho, who's the same age as Torres at 20 years old, but has got 20 goals and 20 assists at least, something like that. He's probably got more by now. To be honest though, for coming into, I'm pretty sure this is his senior debut season, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but that's, to be honest, those stats is pretty decent. I suppose not really too much to write home about as a good winger to bring in goals, bring in that creativity to a club like Manchester City, but to be honest, it's a good start. It's a very good start indeed. His style of play as well, he's been classed as a old school type of winger, known in particular for his pace, creativity and technique, and his close control at speed, which enables him to take on opponents and overload the flanks, while his height and athleticism and his heading ability also make him a strong aerial presence. So to be honest, that bit where I said that those stats don't particularly make him that much of a good player, pace, creativity is something which is pretty much mimics Leroy Sane in that type of sense, and it's just something like I said, Manchester City do desperately need, because we can't keep on relying on players like Sterling. I mean, Sterling, he has turned it up lately, especially with his hat-trick against Brighton, even if it was a bit of a fluky hat-trick. let's be honest, it was a bit sort of off, but we can't really be relying too much on key players, because when they injured, where do we go next? So to bring in a young player like Ferran Torres, just looking at those facts and figures about him is something which is very impressive. And also with Leroy Sane confirmed as a Bayern Munich player, rumours as to who we could replace him with have been around for some time, with like I said, Jadon Sancho, Jaden Braff from our youth team, and Leon Bailey from Bayer Leverkusen. But Ferran Torres is a player who could be announced in a matter of weeks, particularly as he is entering his final stages of his contract and he's showing no real desire to extend his contract to remain in Spain. Liverpool, Man United are also interested in the young 20-year-old right winger, and Borussia Dortmund have in fact contacted his agent, Liederbrook Sport. He is the sort of player who, if he were to come to the club, he would get game time instantly, just because, as it says there, with all those stats, and also his creativity, how much of a good, gifted player he is as well, for his pace, his technique and everything, is something which Manchester City could definitely need, and he could be a key part if we were to go ahead and challenge for the Champions League and try and reclaim our Premier League status in some way, however will we do that. He's valued at £45 million. To be honest, that probably would be bumped up a bit from Valencia. I mean, if we could sign him at a point where he's not signing an extension, we could get him for a free. I mean, it probably won't happen, and by the time that happens, another club like Man United, Liverpool or Dortmund will just swoop him up. So for £45 million, I'd say it's sort of like Sterling-esque sort of thing, if you know what I mean. A big fee for a player who is technically gifted. Guardiola, who knows, he could turn him into something absolutely world class. Moving on now to Lautaro Martinez, I believe that's how you pronounce his first name. He's a potential replacement, as I said, for Sergio Aguero. But not only that, there's also been 4 other players who have been rumoured as a replacement for Sergio Aguero. All these players of which are in fact current Manchester City players. Gabriel Jesus, Raheem Sterling, which Sterling, when he did first come into the Manchester City squad, when Manuel Pellegrini was managing the club. He did have a few stints playing as a striker. Bernardo Silva and even Gundogan. I mean, that's just the most random of random things, is put like Ilkay Gundogan at striker. I mean, Bernardo Silva, we did try it out against Chelsea, and to be honest, it wasn't really that great in a false nine. It just didn't really work. But yeah, he's been dubbed as a replacement for Sergio Aguero. He's a 22-year-old striker who inter-signed from Racing Club in Argentina, and he made his senior debut for his former club at the age of 15. So he was at the age of 15 in 2015. So he was just 17 years of age when he made his senior debut, which is just fairly impressive. A bit more impressive, I suppose you could say, than Ferran Torres, showing more of his ability, more of his talent, how much belief Racing Club did have in him, and how much belief and determination he has in himself to go ahead and just put on a great performance for Inter Milan this season, particularly alongside Romelu Lukaku, and his stats do prove that. In 40 games, in all competitions, 18 goals, 6 assists. Not half bad indeed. One of Lautaro's great strengths is taking the option to shoot quickly, but executing it slowly and with composure. The Argentine likes to fight for every ball and will do anything to satisfy his hunger for goals. Something which is, well, when you look at it, it's just almost written in the stars that he could be the perfect replacement for Sergio Aguero. He has that shooting ability about him, which is just absolutely just something that we do need, because Gabriel Jesus, he has had that recently, but there was that point where in 9 games he just was not scoring, which is just a big old goal drought, and just something which we can't really rely too much on if we do want to go ahead and just compete for Champions League, Premier League, and just uphold our title and our status in some sort of way in big competitions like that. So it's bringing someone like Lautaro Martinez, someone who's got that hunger. He's arguably got that more physical stance about him compared to Sergio Aguero. Is something which it could be amazing, could be absolutely amazing. And if he could stay for as long at the club as Sergio Aguero has, it could be something which we can see, like, yeah, a second coming of Sergio Aguero, where he could get loads and loads of goals, maybe at some point down the line challenge for the top goal scorer at the club. I mean, for that to happen, first and foremost, we just need to see if he'll even sign for the club, let alone getting it too far ahead of ourselves, as I pretty much am there. But saying that, with all his hunger for goals and everything, he has recently, as recent as 3 weeks ago, had a goal drought himself, just like Gabriel Jesus, not scoring in 6 games, which is quite worrying really, particularly for a player who has a top end value of £72 million. To not be scoring in 6 games, or which is quite as worrying as Gabriel Jesus, is just, well, worrying really. There's no other way of putting it. It is just worrying. So yeah, value of £72 million, I feel as though we will be around the £70 million mark. A huge fee. That's probably about, I think that's like twice what we paid for Aguero, and you never know, he could be twice as good as Aguero when he reaches his peak. You just never know. Moving on now to the last position, and recently we've been slated. We've had huge problems in our defence this season. People were saying that, oh, it's all just excuses, saying, oh, we're only struggling because Laporte's been injured. We didn't know that Vincent Kompany was going to be leaving. I mean, they do sound like excuses, but they are plausible, and they have they're proven that these aren't excuses. These are just pure facts, because of our leadership in Kompany has left, Laporte being injured, who's arguably like the second best defender in the Premier League, behind Van Dijk obviously. It's frustrating as that is to say. But to bring in someone like Koulibaly, to have that sort of like partnership between him and Laporte, is something which can just be an absolutely brick wall of just unbelievable good quality, really good strength, really good knowledge on the ball. Being 29 years of age is something which can definitely benefit the defence as well. So yeah, as I said, replacement for Vincent Kompany. Koulibaly began his career in France, where he joined Metz, I believe it is, youth academy in 2009. He progressed to the first team and made his senior debut at the age of 19. Ultimately, Koulibaly would make over 40 appearances for the club, and then he would be captaining them in the process before joining Genk in 2012. So I'm pretty sure back then he was teammates with Kevin De Bruyne as well, so it would be two old teammates joining back together at Manchester City if it does actually happen. And then of course 2 years later, after signing for Genk, he went ahead and signed for Napoli, and since then his own fans have called him the Wall. Diego Maradona once described him as phenomenal, the best defender in Serie A history, which is just massive praise from a player like Diego Maradona, arguably one of, if not the greatest footballer to ever grace the beautiful game. He was 1 point the top goal scorer at Napoli, and so to get high praise from someone like him definitely does show what kind of player Kalidou Koulibaly is, and that he could probably even go ahead, if he does sign for Man City, and challenge for the captain's armband, something which I did discuss in my last video, saying that will probably be close between Sterling and De Bruyne, arguably De Bruyne, but in this case, if he does sign for Man City, like I said, it could be between Koulibaly and De Bruyne as who could get the captain's armband. So he's a centre-half for Napoli and captain for his national team, Senegal. Stats this season, he is in 28 games, 8 clean sheets. He's conceded 32 goals, 0 goals and 0 assists for himself, which, to be honest, them stats, I mean, game time is something which has been very much limited. I'm not too sure as to why that is, whether it's because of his poor run of form, he hasn't really been playing so much, whether it's due to injury or whatever, or getting sent off, whatever it is. Those stats aren't really that too encouraging for a player like him, considering their manager Gattuso has really turned things around at the club. But 28 games, 8 clean sheets. 8 clean sheets, it ain't too bad. 0 goals, 0 assists is something which sort of is understandable. He's not really like playing the ball forward like Van Dijk, which I did see doing research. He was getting compared quite a bit to Virgil. He's more of that, just staying back, just staying central, just being a good, strong, solid brick wall of a player. And he does have that ability and that capability to, like I said, play alongside Laporte, and that would just be absolutely brilliant. Just something which is very much needed, and it would just be absolutely fantastic. I do highly rate Koulibaly as well. He is a phenomenal player. There's no two ways about that. He's also been linked with Man United, Liverpool, and I believe Barcelona, doing some research on this. Man United, that would be one, just like the situation with them where I feel as though Laporte needs a good partnership with someone like Koulibaly. Arguably, Harry Maguire might need that. Possibly needs that with someone like Koulibaly in Liverpool. Van Dijk, Koulibaly, as you can see there, here is a player in big demand, and with that comes a big price tag. According to Transfer Market, he is valued at £67.5 million, and I did see this morning on OneFootball that Napoli have set an asking price of £65 million. They have even resisted offers for their prize asset, but are believed to be open to his sale this summer, and the club are prepared to cash in on Koulibaly after a disappointing season. I mean, that just seems a little bit ridiculous to get rid of a player after one poor season. I mean, sure, we'll take him. Oh, we'll happily take him with our state of our defence, but just one season, just interested in getting rid of him. Like, come on, mate. Seems a little bit unrealistic. So they are the 3 players that Manchester City have been highly linked with in the last few months. Out of all of them, I'll just give them a rating out of 10. Ferran Torres, likely to sign, 7 out of 10. Lautaro Martinez, I'd say an 8 out of 10. It's going to be a strong 8 out of 10 for him to go ahead and sign for the club. Who knows, Aguero might be convinced to stay at the club and not go back to his old club of Independente, I believe they're called. I've definitely butchered that name. Said he would return in the next 2 years or something like that. So yeah, like I said, 8 out of 10 for Martinez. And for Koulibaly, for how much of a high in demand defender he is, and how much, like I said, a phenomenal centre half he is, I'd say probably 6.5. Well, I'm going to go with 7 out of 10, just like Torres. It's something which I can see us very much strongly signing him, especially as he has said that he does in fact favour a move to Manchester, so either one of the Manchester clubs are likely to go ahead and sign him. But yeah, 7 out of 10 I feel as though for Kalidou Koulibaly. That's where I'm going to wrap it up. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts on these signings in the comment section down below. Let me know any other signings that you want me to go through, any others that I've missed out. Thanks for watching, but until next time, I'll see you lot in a bit.